10 ways on how to save money when traveling to Iceland. If you've already been to Iceland or if you've done your research already, you know how expensive it is. To put it into perspective for you, in our RV that we rented, a full tank is probably going to cost you about 90 to 100 US dollars. So keep that in mind. And that's probably going to be your biggest expense, besides housing, of course, unless you're car camping in the car, driving around the country. So if you are looking to save money when traveling to Iceland, here are 10 ways on how to save money for you. The first thing that you want to know is how to transport yourself to Iceland. I use Google Flights for everything. Sometimes I actually don't like looking for the cheapest flights because a lot of the times they're usually layover flights, but also the flights that I do find in Google that are the cheapest in my range, I will usually find those flights in my Ultimate Rewards account with Chase or my American Express travel portal. When I booked my flight over to Reykjavik, I flew from Newark, New Jersey, and I used 27,862 points. But I also found that booking a round trip ticket was actually cheaper to Reykjavik from Newark than booking just a single one-way flight there. The one-way was about $371, and then when I got to the airport, I checked in my bag, and I will say that checking in your bag will save you a lot of money when going to Iceland. And if you guys don't know already, with American Express, you have $100 worth of airline fee credit that you're able to use per year. And with my credit, I use it for checked luggage. Checking in one bag going into Reykjavik cost me $70 per bag. In total, I only use $40 to check in my bags both ways. And just note that if you have the gold card or if you're looking to get the gold card, that you're only allowed to use the airline fee credit with one airline only, and you're not allowed to change it for one whole year. Because I fly United a lot, it just so happened that I was able to use my airline free credit for this trip. And if you're interested in actually getting the gold card, you can use my referral link in the description below. It's actually one of my favorite cards and my go-to card here in the US. Leading me to my next point, check in luggage. For me, I don't really typically ever check in my luggage. I usually just backpack wherever I travel to, but the reason why you will save a lot of money when you check in your luggage is because you can pack in a bunch of snacks that will probably save you hundreds of dollars. And because I decided to check in a bag, I just kind of went crazy on the bag size. Towards the end of the trip, because I had so much more space because I obviously ate all the snacks, I was able to refill in the space by buying souvenirs, not only for myself, but for my friends and family, which is something I don't really get to do a lot of the time. And because I had so much space, it was really nice being able to buy souvenirs. The third point is to make food and to shop at the supermarkets. Yes, Iceland is very expensive, and especially if you're eating out at restaurants every day, on average, you're going to be paying at least $25 per meal, which will add up very quickly. So to save money, and if you have a car or an RV that you're renting out, to make sure that number one, that you have a cooler and that you're stocking up on all your foods. I will say though, after my trip in Iceland, that I didn't think that I was able to eat a sandwich again for weeks. Everything in the country that we ate had some type of bread with it. All the hotels that we've gone to, they kind of save like the same type of breakfast. We stayed at 3 hotels around the country, and I was a little bit confused because they literally served the same food, and I was like, huh? Even the gas stations have a lot of food. A lot of good food, actually. I got cough drops because I have a sore throat. I have a green avocado smoothie, and I got a Starbucks caramel macchiato, and that cost me around $13.50 USD. Now that's not too bad, but again, these are just snacks. And the thing is that in Iceland, honestly, some of the best food you'll get will probably be at the gas stations. Cody just got fish and chips. I tried some and they were just banging. The supermarkets that you maybe want to target are Bonus. Bonus is the cheapest supermarket. I've also heard Netto or Netto, it's good too. But also, if you have a Costco membership, to bring your Costco membership card. There's a Costco located 15 minutes outside of Reykjavik, and we all know that you can't beat Costco's food prices. Tip number 4 is to use credit cards. In my last video talking about how to prepare for Iceland, I talk about how I usually take out the country's foreign currency, but in Iceland, I didn't have to do that once. Just remember that the country does not like Amex, but to bring any type of Visa or MasterCard that you own. If you have probably more like a debit card where you have a 4-digit PIN, that is probably going to be your best friend, because places like the gas station do take credit cards, but when you're actually filling up your gas, you need to be able to enter in a 4-digit PIN. Rule number 5 is to remember to bring your own reusable mugs, plates, Tupperware, whatever it is. Iceland is one of the most eco-friendly country, and just note that whenever you go to gas stations or restaurants, that they're more than happy to fill up your bottle for you. Tip number 6 is that when you're at the airport, to buy alcohol at duty free. Alcohol in Iceland is actually really expensive, and I've even heard that the locals in Iceland go to duty free when they arrive back into the country and buy alcohol there. There is that one big duty free at the airport right before baggage claim. So before you go in and wait for your bag, head over to the duty free. Tip number 7 is to book your accommodations at hostels or even guest houses. The prices are pretty reasonable, the places are clean, and actually the hostel that we stayed at served breakfast. Plus, if you brought your own Tupperware, you can just pack yourself a sandwich to go, and now you have yourself lunch. Tip number 8 is that if you have somewhat of a social media presence, that you can do content exchanges for accommodation. This also depends on where you're comfortable with if you are a content creator yourself. But there were 2 hotels that we did work with. They gave us a couple of nights to stay, free breakfast, free food, in exchange for Instagram stories and photos. This was a joint effort, and we did all have to post X amount of stories, but it was also a way for us to save money on our trip. Tip number 8 is to buy a SIM card prior to your visit. If you don't have the best international phone plan, you are going to save a ton of money by doing this. You can get the proper SIM card for whatever country on Amazon. I'll include the SIM card that I purchased for Iceland in the description below. With any country that I really go to, I only turn on my cellular data when I'm looking for something or if I'm trying to get from point A to point B. But you're also in luck, because in Iceland, there's a lot of good working Wi-Fi everywhere you go. The restaurants, the stores, I haven't tried gas stations, but I'm sure gas stations even have Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi connection there is very fast. And last but not least, that if you are in Reykjavik, to walk everywhere. But if you want to get somewhere that's maybe 2 miles away from where your hotel is, that there are taxi systems there. But just also note that taxis in Iceland are very expensive. No, there are no Ubers or Lyfts in Iceland, but the taxis have the yellow sign on top of the cab. If you're really budgeting and you don't really have money to spend on a rental car for the day, that there are buses that go around the city. Lucky for you that Google Maps is used in Iceland, so that when you go onto the Maps app, and if you want to go from point A to point B, that you will have the option to check which buses and what times they frequently run. There are buses that also go from Reykjavik to places like the Blue Lagoon. You just have to look up the times that they run, because they don't run as often as you'd probably like them to. So these are the 10 tips that I have for you if you want to save money when traveling to Iceland. Again, Iceland is not really a budget-friendly country to travel to, but there are always going to be ways to save money on all your travels. And also, if you're looking for more Iceland photography inspiration, to check out my Instagram for more of that. Thank you guys so much for watching my video on how to save money in Iceland, and I will see you guys in the next. Bye, happy travels.